Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. The Polish Senate has agreed to increase the budget of the European Union. The bill, which was passed without amendments, will now go to President Andrzej Duda for signature. Although the Sejm passed the bill on the 4th of May with the votes of Laurist Justice and the left, the opposition-dominated Senate delayed the deliberations in order to reject the law and provoke a political crisis. This plan, however, failed, and 98 out of 100 senators backed the bill that will finance reconstruction after the COVID-19 pandemic. From midnight tonight, Polish airspace will be closed to planes from Belarus. At the same time, Russia is cancelling flights by those airlines that are complying with European bans and avoiding Belarusian airspace. The Polish National Prosecutor's Office and the Internal Security Agency are investigating the reasons why a Polish registered Ryanair plane flying from Athens to Vilnius was forced to land in Minsk last Sunday. Meanwhile, the parents of Roman Protasiewicz, a journalist detained in Belarus after having been removed from the Ryanair flight, have appealed to the international community for help in saving their son. Journalists are disappearing in Belarus and oppositionists are being murdered virtually on a daily basis. After the kidnapping of Roman Protasiewicz, Lukashenko's regime has only intensified the repression. The blogger's parents live in Wrocław, Poland, and all they can do is appeal to the international community to save their son. My son did not incite the riots. My son informed, as a journalist, as a blogger, about what was happening in Belarus. The whereabouts of the 26-year-old activist are unknown, and Protasiewicz's lawyer is unable to contact his client. His parents have received contradictory information regarding their son. The world supports people like my son. All he wanted was to tell the truth. The world supports young people who strive for the freedom of speech. This situation applies to Belarus. Belarusian secret services are threatening oppositionists who fled abroad. Editors of the opposition portal NATO, who live in Poland, recorded the first such threats last August. The amount of threats we are getting now is increasing. They write to us that Roman was lucky and they will shoot us dead, even here in Warsaw. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg condemned the Belarusian regime and Sunday's detention of the international passenger aeroplane. In his statement, he also referred to the arrests of members of the Union of Poles in Belarus.
Cracks down on freedom.
It was a hijacking of a plane. Allied countries' citizens were exposed to enormous risk. This is a blatant attack by the Minsk regime on basic democratic rights and on independent media. I demand the immediate release of the journalist Roman Protasiewicz and his companion Sofia Sapiega, as well as all other political prisoners, including members of the Union of Poles in Belarus.
Must be immediately released.
President Andrzej Duda has concluded a two-day state visit to Georgia. Speaking to Georgian President Salome Zurabishvili, Duda stressed his commitment to Georgian integration and the EU and NATO. The Polish government also declared that it would share COVID-19 vaccinations with Georgia. The present times require greater solidarity from us. We count on the support of partners on the way to the European Union and NATO structures. Poland is one of the countries that support Georgia in this matter. Georgia has already gone through certain stages. We have signed an association agreement and launched a visa-free regime. I talked to the President so that Poland would represent the interests of Georgia. I can promise you, Madam President, that we will raise the issues of Georgia's borders and the situation in border regions in international forums. It will happen both in the forum of the United Nations General Assembly and in the Human Rights Council, of which Poland is a member. I consider the situation dramatic and there is a violation of human rights. The third wave of the coronavirus epidemic is fading. From 64,000 tests performed yesterday, only 1,230 new cases were detected. Unfortunately, a further 135 people died with COVID-19. So far, 2,870,000 Poles have contracted the SARS-CoV-2 virus and 73,440 people have died. About 34% of Poles have been vaccinated for coronavirus. 5,640,000 people have received a full dose of the vaccine and 13,145,000 have received their first shot. So far, 18,785,000 vaccinations have been administered. Last Wednesday, 383,000 vaccines were administered. The Institute of National Remembrance has accused United States Democratic Congressman Steve Cohen of slandering all the victims of the German occupation after he said Auschwitz and Birkenau were located in Poland. During an interview with CNN, when asked about US Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene's statement in which she had said that wearing a mask is exactly the same type of abuse suffered during the genocide of millions of European Jews during World War II, Cohen said, "It's sad to see that members of Congress have gotten to this low level. They don't understand history. They don't understand the Holocaust. You know, it was not just Nazi Germany, it was Poland where some of these more severe, serious concentration camps were, Auschwitz and Birkenau." Alex Staroszynski, the chairman of the US-based Kościuszko Foundation, wrote to Senator Cohen, "Last night on CNN, you lied and blamed Poland for the Auschwitz and Treblinka concentration camps during the Holocaust. Nazi Germany invaded Poland in 1939 and wiped it off the map, installing a German general government. They changed the name of the Polish town of Oświęcim to Auschwitz and built a concentration camp where 1 million people were murdered, most of them Jewish. Auschwitz, a German word, was a German camp run by German guards with German shepherds and hung with the German words Arbeit macht frei, work will make you free, over the entrance. The only Polish about the camp were the victims. In attacking other members of Congress for making outrageous statements about the Holocaust, you are either ignorant or willfully using revisionist history. Neither is acceptable, and you must apologise for spreading lies about Poland." That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.